Greetings, Senator Millett and Representative Cornfield, and the members of the Committee on Education and Cultural Affairs. My name is Melissa Guerrette. I'm a resident of Norway, Maine, and a National Board Certified teacher, 5th grade teacher at Oxford Elementary School in Oxford Hills School District, where I've been working for 18 years. I'm also a co-chair of a community-wide initiative in Oxford Hills called O Hills Reads, the objectives of which I believe are in accordance with the long-term goals of LD29. Thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony on this bill. This fall, I was teaching reading comprehension to my 5th grade students, and in the process, I was attempting to clarify a descriptive passage with a conversation about porcupine quills and their needle-like quality. Soon, I had hands eager to share their connections. I called on one student and was unprepared for his share. "I found a needle on the side of the road," he stated. "I went to tell my mom because you can't pick those up." He went on to explain that you couldn't know if a needle, the kind with which you might draw blood or inject something, was unsafe. The exchange was a sobering reminder that young people have lots of information about the realities of drug use, no matter how much we wish they didn't. In 2015, I had the opportunity to read an advanced reader copy of a new middle grade novel that would be the first of its kind. The Seventh Wish, written by Kate Messner, chronicles the experience of a middle school student when her all-American family uncovers the secret that her sister, a first-year college student, has developed substance use disorder and will require treatment for her addiction to heroin. I knew through my experience with this character and her story that this book would be an effective support for the 5th grade health unit related to healthy choices and risky behaviors, which includes 10 weeks of lessons from the DARE program. My grade level colleagues and our DARE officer read the book as well and were quick to agree to its adoption. And eventually, I created the educator guide for this book's publisher as an instructional support for other educators. In each of the last 4 years, I have read this book aloud to my students, facilitating dialogue and encouraging question asking. Among those classes of students, I know some have identified their own story inside the Seventh Wish, recognizing the signs and struggles of living with substance use disorder within their own families. On occasion, students have quietly shared their connections between the book and past trauma. Further, I'm certain that students who do not know this scenario firsthand are now better prepared to respond with compassion and empathy when they encounter others who are impacted by the opioid epidemic. It's been interesting to observe the similarities and differences in students' conversations about this book over the last 4 years. The author weaves subtle hints into the early chapters of the book and foreshadows the eventual reveal of the sisters' heroin use. One hint is a mention of brown sugar-like donut crumbs in a waxed bag. This year, students were attuned to the foreshadowing and recognized these details as evidence of substance use disorder more quickly than in previous years. O Hills Reads is a community collaboration between Healthy Oxford Hills and the Oxford Hills School District, and our committee is comprised of representatives from both groups and community members. We're proud of the initiative we've organized and executed. Through the selection of one common book for all of Oxford Hills to read, we set out to accomplish 3 objectives. 1, to connect schools in the community. 2, to engage in education and prevention of a health-related issue. And 3, to reduce stigma in the community. These goals led us to select The Seventh Wish as a community-wide read this winter. Funded by the support of community businesses, groups, and individuals, and 2 small grant awards, we purchased 1,500 copies of this book for distribution. Based on the results of the Maine Integrated Youth Health Survey, we identified the intermediate grades as a critical age for education. 900 copies went directly into the hands of students in grades 4 through 6 in our elementary schools. The remaining copies have been made available to community members at distribution sites throughout Oxford Hills. Additionally, we've rallied community talent and resources to offer a full program through the month of January with events such as panel presentations and fundraisers for local recovery programs. While we may not see the long-term impact of our initiative, there are successes of all sizes made by making space for conversation about substance use disorder between and among families and neighbors. Making space is critical to reducing stigma around substance use disorder. One student voice in my current classroom piped up at the mention of heroin in the seventh wish when we got there this year. Why did the author put drugs in a book that's supposed to be for us? After some clarification, he went on to say, I thought it was like a bad word, that we aren't supposed to talk about that at school. This young person and their classmates are representative of exactly why we must make space for education about substance use and substance use disorder. As an educator who has made shifts to invite conversation and validate the struggle of substance use disorder in our communities and in our students' lives, and seen the value of doing so, I encourage you to support LD29 and the formation of a work group to make recommendations about substance use and substance use disorder education. I encourage you to seek information about programs that are already established, to identify practical resources and supports that can be provided to schools, and to look for opportunities to educate Maine's youth with more than facts, but also a relatable perspective of the impact and range of consequences that result from risky choices related to substance use. Thank you for your ongoing commitment to ensuring high-quality educational programming for Maine's students. I can be reached by email if you are interested in further information. Sincerely, Melissa Guerrette.